How's it going, everyone? InnovativeJdawg here with yet another Spider-Man PS4 video. Today, we're going to be continuing that mini-series of wishlist videos that I started last week, where I talked about suits that should appear in the upcoming sequel to Insomniac's Spider-Man released on the PlayStation 4. Last week, I ranked 15 Peter Parker suits that I would love to see in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, so this week, it's only fitting that we jump straight into my wishlist for Miles Morales. But before we begin, if you haven't already, go ahead and check out that recent video discussing the Peter Parker suits, and then come back here, since this video is technically a continuation of that one. With all that out of the way, I don't want to keep you guys waiting, let's get right into it. Number 10, the classic suit. In fact, let's throw in all 20 suits from Spider-Man Miles Morales as honorable mentions. In my first wishlist video, I talked about wanting to see the original advanced suit make a comeback for Peter Parker, but I ended up cheating by including all 47 suits in my list as honorable mentions. Since I ended up doing that for Peter, it only makes sense to do that same thing for Miles, right? Granted, a lot of the costumes seen in the Miles Morales game were just variations of the classic suit with different clothes thrown on top, but it would be really cool if they all returned for Spider-Man 2, just for the sake of beefing up Miles' suit counter. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if a few of those suits get cut for the sequel, but one that I absolutely want to see return is that original black and red suit, just for the sake of story continuity. Just like Peter, Miles is shown to have a few visual upgrades for his costume in the Spider-Man 2 trailer, so I want them to include its original counterpart so we can have a natural transition between the old appearance and this new one. Number 9, the Shadow Spider suit. The Shadow Spider suit was something I neglected to put on my wishlist for the first Miles Morales game, simply because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know what it was or where it came from, and to this day, I still haven't read the comic that this suit originates from, but because of how often I saw this suit get mentioned in my comments, I figured, hey, let's take a look at it. And man, you guys sure have made me come around on this. The Shadow Spider suit would be a really cool outfit to wear when running around the city, and if Insomniac ends up putting that Arachnite costume in for Peter, they could easily use a similar cape animation for this costume to make it look more dynamic. In my eyes, this is one of those lively costumes that needs to take full advantage of the PS5 hardware. There's a lot of potential here. Number 8, Evil Miles Morales. I really don't have much to say about this costume other than the fact that it would be one of those wacky and obscure suits that catches everybody off guard when they first unlock it. The quote-unquote Evil Miles Morales costume is worn by the Miles of Earth 20143, who first appeared in Spider-Verse Volume 3, Issue 2. This costume has a similar design pattern to the classic Miles Morales costume, but instead of being mostly black, the Evil Miles suit is mostly red with blue webbing replacing the red webbing. Plus, the spider emblem looks like a skull just so you can tell that he's evil. I, for one, would want Insomniac to include this costume just so it could be another one of those "wait, what is this?" kind of costumes. There's just something fun about casual Spider-Man fans seeing weirder and more obscure costumes for the first time, so I want Insomniac to keep that tradition alive by adding more wacky suits. Number 7, the Miles Morales spacesuit. I've said it time and time again, but Spider-Man Life Story is a really fantastic read. I highly recommend it for all you hardcore Spidey fans because it's a fresh, unique recap of the character's history. Miles Morales actually appears as a character towards the end of the comic, but for the sake of avoiding spoilers for those of you who might want to read it, I'm not going to go in depth about his character. But what I do want to talk about is the spacesuit that he wore when he and an elderly Peter Parker traveled into space. It's not all too different from the classic black and red Miles costume, but there is enough differences such as that luminescent helmet that I think it would be a really fun inclusion. Also, while I'm on the topic, I didn't have Peter's spacesuit in the first wishlist video, but if they add this suit, I feel like they've gotta add Peter's version as well, just so the two could match. They don't have to, but it would be cool to see the two suits side by side in cutscenes. Number 6, Cosmic Miles Morales. And speaking of seeing suits side by side in cutscenes, if Peter ends up getting his Cosmic Spider-Man suit, then Miles should get his Cosmic suit as well. First appearing in 2018's Spider-Geddon event, Miles was granted the cosmic powers of the Enigma Force so he could square off against Solus, the leader of the Inheritors. In terms of its design, it's the exact same as all the other Cosmic Spider-Man suits that we've seen over the years, with the only difference being that little mouth section where we see Miles' black mask and red webbing. Just like with Peter's cosmic suit, I feel like the Miles Morales cosmic suit has a lot of potential for visual flair, and it has cool suit powers. So if Peter ends up getting his cosmic Spider-Man suit, I would love if this suit accompanied it, kinda like how we got all those cosmic suits in Shattered Dimensions and Edge of Time. Number 5. The Marvel Strike Force suit. Hey, alright, here's a returning suit that I talked about in my first wishlist video for the Miles Morales game. Unfortunately, we didn't see this suit get added into that game, so it only makes sense for me to bring it back into this wishlist for the sequel. My opinions on the Marvel Strike Force suit haven't changed. I still think it's a really cool look for Miles that stays true to what his style should represent, yet it upgrades the original design by adding in more red portions to balance out the black, which we kinda see something similar in the new classic suit for Miles in the Spider-Man 2 trailer. Unfortunately, I don't see this suit being added into the game because there's not as many people playing Strike Force anymore compared to what we saw in 2020, so it's just one of those wild dreams of mine. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, but who knows. All I know is that it would be a really cool suit to play with. Number 4. The Streetwear suit from the 10th anniversary of Miles Morales. From what I've gathered, there's a lot of mixed opinions on the Streetwear suit. Some people love it, others absolutely hate it, but I for one don't mind it. I think it's a really cool urban design that fits the character of Miles, so I can understand why a lot of people do like it, but on the other hand, I can also see why a lot of people hate it. For the record, I'm not up to date on Miles Morales comic books, so I haven't seen this suit in action much outside of cover appearances and whatnot. But apparently, depending on the artist, those red sections of the costume aren't actually red, they're hot pink. At least that's what I've heard. Now, I don't mind this costume being hot pink, but I just think it looks way better when it's more of a reddish pink as opposed to a hot pink, if that makes any sense. But regardless of what people think about this suit's design or its colors, I think it's a safe bet that we'll see the streetwear suit in Spider-Man 2. It's a fresh look for Miles that has garnered a lot of popularity as of late, so much popularity that it would be much more of a surprise if Insomniac opted to not include it. Number 3. The Captain America Spider-Man suit. Now I gotta admit, I had no idea that this suit even existed before I started putting together this list a while back. I was struggling to find alternate costumes for Miles, and during my search, I magically stumbled upon this costume that was used in a cover variant honoring Captain America's 80th anniversary. By this point, you know me, I'm a sucker for a good costume that mixes Spidey with other superheroes. The designs may not always be my personal favorite whenever I get around to ranking them, but I always find something to appreciate with each and every costume, and this one immediately caught my attention. I feel like that patriotic design speaks for itself in terms of how amazing it would be to see in Spider-Man 2, and I know it's definitely possible because Insomniac has created suits in the past that have only appeared on covers. With that in mind, I would love to see them take a crack at the Captain America Spider-Man costume, so then we could see it alongside Peter's Iron Spider armor in cutscenes if that suit returns to the sequel as well. Number 2. The Across the Spider-Verse suit. Come on, be honest, how many of you guys did I surprise by not having this as my number 1? I'm a big fan of movie-inspired Spider-Man suits, and every time I rank them, or have them in my wish lists, I always put them at the very top. Well, not this time. I actually have one other suit above this one, but I would still love to see the new Spider-Verse suit in the sequel. Just like the streetwear suit that I talked about a little while ago, the Across the Spider-Verse suit is definitely a no-brainer for the sequel just because of timing alone. Across the Spider-Verse actually got delayed to a 2023 release, meaning it's coming out the exact same year as Marvel's Spider-Man 2. So the Spider-Verse hype is going to be coming back in full swing by the time Spider-Man 2 releases. Everybody is going to want to see Miles' new costume make an appearance in the game, and I am definitely one of those people. Number 1. A hooded, classic Miles Morales suit. Alright, my number 1 most anticipated costume for Miles Morales is just a version of the classic suit wearing a hoodie, shorts, and red sneakers. That's it. It's very simple, and it's just another variation of the classic suit, but it's something I've wanted for the longest time, and I'm shocked that we didn't really get it in the first Miles Morales game. Granted, we did get the Bodega Cat suit, the Brooklyn Vision suit, and the sportswear suit, but those don't really count because the Bodega Cat suit had a different design for the classic suit, and it also had him wearing a backpack with a cat in it. The Brooklyn Vision suit wasn't really a hoodie, and the sportswear suit wasn't his black and red costume, it was the red mask that he was given by Peter at the end of the first game. When I say I want a hooded Miles Morales suit, I want the perfect mixture of all those suits, just like what we saw on the cover of the Miles Morales art book. I want Miles wearing his classic red and black costume, no backpack or cap, and no alterations to his eyes, and I just want him wearing a hoodie, some shorts, and some sneakers. It could either be the exact same outfit that we saw with the sportswear suit, or it could be the green hoodie that we saw in the Spider-Verse suit. I don't really mind what design Insomniac does, I just want a hoodie over top of the classic suit, and I'm sure a lot of other people do as well. And there we have it, everyone. Those are my top 10 most anticipated suits that I want to see for Miles Morales in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. How many suits from my list do you want to see make it into the sequel? Are there any suits that I didn't mention that you would want to see? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below and let's have a discussion. If you liked this video and want to see more Spider-Man related content, smash that thumbs up button and share this video with your friends. I would greatly appreciate it. And now, I've given you my wish lists for both Peter Parker and Miles Morales. There's only one more video left in the Suits Wishlist miniseries, so next up I'll be talking all about potential black symbiote suits that I want to see, so if you're interested in what I have to say, make sure to subscribe and click that notification bell so you won't miss a single video that I release. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you all around in my next video, but until then, I will be seeing all of you Spider-Man fans later. See ya!